In our first example, they say 50,000 Rand is deposited into a savings account. So that 50,000 Rand, you will agree with me, that is your P that you will invest. That is your present value. Now they say the interest rate for the first 3 years of this savings, the first 3 years, so that means your N will be 3, is 12% per annum compounded half yearly. So our interest rate is 12%, and this is done half yearly. So it's very important because there's lots of information given that you always make a summary of this. So that is now the first 3 years of this investment. So now they say thereafter the interest rate changes. So the second part of this question, we're going to get another interest rate. So let's call this the second one R2 and this first one we call R1. And this interest rate now will become 18% and the compounding is monthly. They say the money is left to grow for a further 4 years. So that means your N now is 4. We call it N2 and that one we call N1. And now they're going to ask us to calculate the future value of this investment at the end of the 7-year period. So as you can see, in total it will be 7 years. So the first 3 years at this interest rate, and then 4 years at that interest rate. So what will you do first? You're going to use this P1, the first investment, and you're going to work out your future value. We're going to call it A1. This A1, you will now reinvest in this for these 4 years. So that means your P2 that you will invest here will be the same as your A1 that we found here. And then we're going to find our A2, and that will be our final answer. And that is a good way to summarize your information before you start your question. Let's now discuss this and let's draw the timeline. In this problem, they gave us an investment. Like I suggested, make yourself a summary before you attempt this question. The investment originally was 50,000 Rand. It is for a 3-year period at 12% per annum, half yearly. That is your compounding, half yearly. And they ask us, although not indirectly, they ask us to find our future value after the 3 years. Because after the 3 years, we're not going to take the money. We're going to reinvest that money. So this A1, we're going to calculate here. We're going to reinvest, and that's going to be my P2 amount. I'm going to invest it for a further 4 years at a different interest rate of 18% monthly. Now, a good habit is to draw a timeline to represent this. So our first year, so we have when we invest the money, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, and T7. So we're going to invest this money for 7 years, as you can see. So at the 3 years, that is where the change will happen. So for 3 years, we're going to use this information. And for the next 4 years, we're going to use that information. And a good idea is, once you've got the summary, that you do your calculation here, and whatever your answer, you will then transpose to this one, and you will get your final answer by doing that. And it's a very nice way to see exactly what you are busy doing. So we're going to use our compound interest formula of 1 plus I to the n. This is half yearly, so we're going to adjust this formula to I over 2 to n. We're going to substitute our 50,000 Rand. The 1 plus, the I here is 12%, so it's 0.12 over 12, no, over 2 rather. It is over 2 because it's half yearly. And to the power of, 3 years, 3 years times the 2, which will be 6. And this is what I'm going to call A1. So this is now my first future value after 3 years. And this answer, we're going to reinvest here. So let's first do this calculation. So as you can see, not a very difficult calculation. We've done it many times. The 50,000 rand, the bracket 1 plus 0.12, the 2 denominator, we close it and we raise it to the power of 6. And I've got 70,000 rand, 70,925 and 96. It was 955, so I round off to 96. So this 70,900 rand, which is my A1, will now become my P2. So this is the 70, 925 and 96 cents. So this is now in the second part what we will invest. So we're going to invest now this amount coming from the first part. So I'm going to say A is equal to P. My formula, I'm going to adjust it immediately now because it's a monthly calculation. So it's 1 plus I over 12, 12N. This P now is my P2. So this is now my second investment, and we are now busy calculating our A2 because we've got an A1 here that we found. Now we're going to look at A2. So the P2 that we're going to substitute is the 70,000, 925 and 96 cents. 1 plus my interest rate here is 18%, so 0.18 over 12 because this one is monthly. And then the number of years, 4, so it is 12 times 4. And now you take your calculator and we calculate our future value after the 7 years. This was after 3 years. Then we reinvest that money for a further 4 years at a different interest rate. So let's now see what that is. It's the 70,000, 925.96. We're going to multiply it with that bracket of 1 plus 0.18, 12, and we're going to raise it to the power of 12 times 4, which you can put in as 12 times 4, or 48. You can do that straight away. And now this 70,900 will become 144,935 rand and 66. I round it off to 2 decimals again, and I've got 66 cents. So this is your future value after the 7-year period. So because something happened, you need to do the parts separately. And it's always good to summarize whatever they say changed. Now, from the exam panel that sets the national exams in South Africa, they said that not more than 2 things will change within one question. This particular example, only 1 thing changed, and that was the interest rate. So let's now look at the second example and see what they want us to do.